Hi everyone, I am back to do the British tag, and the first thing you're probably thinking is, girl, you're not British. And that is true. I am Canadian. However, if you didn't know this, I live in England, and I've lived in England for over 4 years now, so I would like to think of myself as part British, at least. I mean, I love England, I love British culture. I was tagged by my friend Sammi, or the Beauty Crush, to do this video. I will link to her tag video down below. I think she actually created it. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she created it. So thanks to Sammi for tagging me, and now let's get on to the questions. Now, I was thinking of doing this entire video in a fake British accent, but as you can probably tell, my British accent isn't actually that accurate. Right, my British accent is absolutely terrible. Absolutely awful. And that's about all you're gonna be getting. Okay, so now that that's completely out of my system, let's get started on the questions. How many cups of tea do you have per day? How many sugars? So I drink a lot of tea. Well, I think I drink a lot of tea. I probably have 2 to 3 cups of tea a day, which I think is actually, now that I'm saying it, it's probably not that much. I think it's kind of average. So I always have a cup of tea when I wake up in the morning. I usually have one in the afternoon around 2 or 3, and then I usually have a cup of tea before bed depending on my mood. Now, part of the tag is that you have to have a mug of tea while you film it. Now, I can't lie, this is not actually tea. It is so hot in London today that I just couldn't even dream of having a hot cup of tea, but I've already had 2 cups of tea today, so I don't know. Doesn't make sense, I know, but right now I wasn't in the mood. So yeah, this is my pretend cup of tea that's actually water, but it's tea in spirit. As far as how I take my tea, I always have milk and usually a sugar as well. Favorite part of a Sunday roast? Man, oh man, it's all so good that I can't even decide. But I think my favorite thing is the gravy. But not just the gravy. I really enjoy the experience of pouring the gravy into the Yorkshire pudding. And I actually didn't even have a Yorkshire pudding until like 2 years ago. It was my first time ever having one, and it was a life-changing experience for me. Yeah, I like everything about a Sunday roast. I like every single thing about a Sunday roast. I just said that exact same sentence twice, but that just goes to show you how much I do love a Sunday roast. I've never cooked one myself. I hate cooking, but I think I should try to cook one in the next year. I'm gonna hold myself to that. Cook a Sunday roast. What is your favorite dunking biscuit? Now, I am actually not a fan of dunking at all, but I strategically chose this mug for the tag video today because this mug is called the Dunkonomics mug. It's the science of dunking. It says dunk, to dip a biscuit, cake, etc. into tea, coffee, milk, or the like before eating. And then it has like all of these different types of biscuits and how dunkable they are. The jammy wheel, it says, there's a 2 out of 5 crunch factor, 3 out of 5 anti-dissolvability, and it goes into detail for each biscuit. My favorite biscuit is probably the bourbon. I know Sammi said she hates bourbons, but I love bourbons. It's basically just like a chocolate biscuit, but I love them. And it actually says that it has a final dunk rating of 3.5 out of 5. But I also love chocolate digestives. I love biscuits, but not a big dunker. Here I am in the grocery store looking at all of the biscuits. This is live action, people. Ooh, let's see what we can find here. Jammy Dodgers, classics, jam and cream, custard cream. Here are the bourbons. We've got malted milks. Oh, these are good. Hang on, we got an announcement. Digestive biscuits. Hell yes. So simple, but so good. Jaffa cakes. Aslan really likes these. Not my thing. What's your favorite quintessentially British pastime? This was really hard for me to think of, but I finally settled on one that I think is quintessentially British, and that's going to a car boot sale. Now, I used to go to car boot sales, honestly, probably every single weekend. If you don't know what that is, it's where somebody takes their car and they sell items out of the boot or trunk of their car. Like, that's basically what it means. It's basically like a huge garage sale, but it's out of people's cars. I don't know. Anyway, I think you can really find some good bargains at car boot sales, but I just enjoy the experience of waking up early, usually on a Sunday, heading to the car boot sale, getting a nice cup of tea, just chatting to the people, seeing what's on offer, and I think that's really fun. I haven't actually been to one in ages and ages, but funnily enough, Aslan and I recently did our own car boot sale. We were the sellers for the very first time, and I was nervous about the whole experience, but you can check that out on our vlog channel because we did vlog about the car boot sale experience. What's your favorite word? Now, I think by now everybody knows how I get when a British man says the word cheers. Like, I can't even think about it right now because I love it so much. If a British guy says the word cheers to me, like instead of thanks, say I hold the door for him and then he says, oh, cheers, I'm like, oh my God. Like, my heart literally stops. Well, not literally, but it stops and I start to be like, oh, like I get a little melty. And yeah, that word has power over me, as you can tell. I can barely talk about it. Another British word or phrase that I really like is bits and bobs. And I had actually never heard that phrase in Canada until I moved to England, and everything was bits and bobs. Everything was bits, everything was bobs. Like, oh, just gonna pop to the shop and get a few bits and bobs. I had never heard that before, and I just love that phrase now. I love that I can go into a store and like find a tin that says bits and bobs. I just really like that phrase. I don't know. Am I weird? I don't know. Cockney rhyme slang. I wrote this down. The term Cockney traditionally refers to people from a particular part of East London. The Cockney accent is pretty much the accent I grew up thinking everybody in England had. I thought everyone had a Cockney accent. I moved to England and then I realized, nope, that's not true at all, and there's actually lots of different types of accents in England. A few little rhymes that I'm going to tell you today are jam jar, which means car, and apples and pears, I think Sammy said that means stairs, and I heard that bo peep means sleep. So I don't know, I do enjoy a bit of Cockney slang. I have no idea what people are talking about most of the time, but I enjoy it. My favorite British sweet is one that I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce. How would you say this word? I'm gonna go with Maoam. That's how Aslan says it, but I can't figure out how you actually say it, so I don't know. They're these fruity, chewy little candies, and they taste amazing. They taste fruity, but they're gummy, but they're not too gummy. And I just love Maoams so much. Please let me know how you actually say that in the comments below. I remember when Aslan and I were long distance, he actually sent me a package with Maoams inside, and that's when I fell in love with them. I was always a little bit shocked that the packaging was always slightly sexual. It looks like the fruit are having a really great time together. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. I'm not here to judge any fruit, so the candy is really good, that's all that matters. Here are some British sweets for you right here. I'm just gonna go through some of these Star Mix. They're like gummy things. We've got wine gums. Here are the classic Maoams, whatever you want to call them. What else do we have here? Haribo in general, just amaze. Body bits. What's a body bit? Classics, lemon sherbets, pear drops, wine gums. What are these? Chocolate limes. We did have jelly tots in Canada, but then they discontinued them, but they're just like little gummy things and they're so good. What would your pub be called? Now, I've taken a long time to think about this. I knew I wanted my pub to have something to do with Reggie, my greyhound, and something to do with Aslan. And Aslan's nickname is Goose. I always call him Goose. So I thought of the perfect pub name, it would be the Goose and Hound. #1 British person. This is so hard. I think like the standard answer would probably be David Attenborough because he's amazing, obviously. But a little more personal to my life is the narrator of Come Dine With Me. I think his name is Dave Lamb. If you have no idea what Come Dine With Me is, you probably don't live in the UK because it's kind of a big deal over here. But basically, it's a show where I think it's 4 or 5 people, strangers. So these strangers meet and each person has their night for a dinner party, and then everybody else at the dinner party votes and says like what they thought of the dinner and stuff. At the end of the week, they tally up the votes and somebody wins £1,000, but that doesn't even matter. The whole point of the show is that it is absolutely hilarious because it's 5 people who have usually nothing in common coming together and having dinner for like a straight week. And the narrator, specifically Dave Lamb, is like the most funny person I have ever heard in my life. He always just like does like subtle jokes about people's personalities, and he's so witty, and he's just makes every situation hilarious. So I could not live without Come Dine With Me, and so he's probably one of my favorite British people. My favorite shop slash restaurant. This is tough. Okay, my favorite restaurant at the moment, and it has been for a few months now, is Bone Daddy's, which is a ramen place. As far as shopping goes, I love Topshop. I think everybody here probably knows that I would say 90% of my wardrobe is Topshop. I am obsessed with Topshop. I also love Boots, which is the drugstore here. And I couldn't do this video without talking about Selfridges and Liberty of London. What British song pops into your head? Well, obviously the Spice Girls were my #1. It was actually the first concert that I went to, so anything by the Spice Girls. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be singing a Spice Girls song, but the only one I can think of right now is To Become One, which I got To Become One on the mind. When to become one. Another good Spice Girls song is Stop Right Now, Thank You Very Much. I used to know that dance, but it's like, I need somebody with a human touch. Hey you, always on the run, gotta slow. Yeah, I used to know that, and it's really depressing that I don't. I used to have a Spice Girls poster. I used to have a collection of the Spice Girls lollipop things, and I used to have a lot of Spice Girls paraphernalia, so I'm gonna go with this, anything by the Spice Girls. Marmite. No, I don't like Marmite. I can't stand it. So that is my entire British tag. Let me know, do you think I'm British? When do I get to become an honorary Brit? Am I one already? I hope so, because I want to be one so bad. So bad. I'm gonna tag a couple people down below. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. all at essiebutton, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna drink my tea, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Leo says, what do you like most in British boys? Okay, this is one thing that I don't know if I've mentioned. Oh my god, I'm getting giddy even thinking about it. Okay, when...